I guess one of the things that struck me is the different journeys we've all had to finally reach Nu Skin. So I've got the privilege this afternoon of having a chat with a couple of really up-and-coming leaders, Ash from Brisbane and Annette from Auckland, who I guess we call them the A-team. They're all in different parts of different lines of introduction, but really looking forward to hearing from them and learning from them. So just by way of introduction, I guess my journey to Nu Skin, a little bit different. I've got a corporate background in aviation, more years than I care to remember. I guess I'm a slow learner because it took me a long time to realise that my job title was getting longer. At one stage, I was commuting from Auckland to Melbourne Monday to Friday, and it was one of those trips that I suddenly realised that if I stop doing this stuff, they're going to stop paying me. I thought that was very unfair, but then the thought crossed my mind, well, what am I going to do different? So my wife, Marlene, and I were thinking, what can we do to change that situation? And we built that business part-time to the point where I guess qualified for the equivalent of a success trip. Unfortunately, the company went bankrupt, so no trip. And they say you can either get mad, you can get even, or you can get on with it. So we decided to get on with it. And we then found an American-based company that was a startup coming into the South Pacific. So we got started with them and started to have some more success and growth. And goodness me, that company failed as well. So that's 2 down. So we tried again with a third American-based company that again was a startup, but it seemed to have good pedigree and good management from the stories that we heard. So we got stuck in and we built quite a large business in that company, and it also failed. So that's 3 down. And it was around that time, this time of year actually, they got a call from the ex-general manager of that company they got to know pretty well. And he told me that he was going to be taking up an opportunity with a company called Nu Skin. And I quite frankly wasn't very interested because at that stage I'd kind of lost confidence in the integrity and competence of company managements. I had really learned from the dynamics of the business model that it had some potential, but I was kind of lacking confidence. Now, fortunately for me, he said 2 things that I'm just so grateful in hindsight. First thing he said, look, just trust me. So because of our relationship, I trusted his judgment. And I thought, well, maybe I need to look into this a little bit more. And the second thing he said was more of a challenge. He said, if you can, fly up from New Zealand to the USA at your own expense and come and get the facts. So literally it was about this time of year, and I literally flew up to the States the following week, and I attended a Nu Skin kickoff meeting in Los Angeles. And then from that, I moved on to Provo, Utah to visit the company headquarters, met some of the corporate team, met some of the scientists, and I quickly became embarrassed when I saw the size and scope of Nu Skin compared to our other experiences. There was really no comparison. The reality was, in our enthusiasm to change our situation earlier on, I didn't know what to look for, for the long-term sustainability and viability. So seeing Nu Skin and then visiting corporate headquarters was a whole different ball game. So I'm just grateful for that phone call. So it's about relationships and trusting each other, I guess. So that's enough from me. What I'd like to do now is to invite our 2 special guests on, Ash from Brisbane and Annette from Auckland, to join us on the call. And firstly, congratulations to each one of you on your amazing success in such a short period of time. We're all keen to learn from you. So if I may, perhaps Ash, kicking off with you, if you could maybe share with us your background and what led you to Nu Skin.
Thank you so much, Jerry. Yes, so hey guys, I am Ash. I am a mum of 2 little girls. I started Nu Skin nearly just over 2 years ago. I was somebody who sat back and watched for a very long time. I was watching on social media. I was watching one of my good mummy friends, very much like Jerry. I had the trust in her. So I was watching her be very successful with the business and all those sorts of things. And I just never thought the opportunity was for me until I had gone back to work. So my background in work is my retail management. So I was looking for an opportunity. Something different. And so that's when I thought, what about Nu Skin? Like, what about if I just took this opportunity and if it, where would it take me? And literally 2 years ago, I made that decision and it's been the best decision I've ever made. It's absolutely just mind blown what we have been able to achieve in our own lives.
Annette, back across the ditch to Auckland, your little background, please.
Sure. Thanks, Jerry. So I'm from Auckland in New Zealand here, and I joined the business about 18 months ago. It was choking up here. I was actually introduced to the business by someone who I didn't actually know at the time. For some reason, I was actually following her on Instagram, so on social media. And it just so happens that one day I was looking at her stories and going through that just by, surfing as you do. And I come across some information on her stories about the business, and I thought to myself, that sounds really cool, actually. And so I reached out to her. She told me a bit about the business. And I thought to myself, look, I have nothing to lose and possibly everything to gain. So it just seemed like, good timing. And yeah, just was really interested and really encouraged by the way that she presented the business as well.
Okay, great. So you were looking, you were open. What were some of the, if any, concerns that you had when you were investigating and checking it out? What sort of came to mind?
Sure. So initially, when I was looking at something like this, so direct selling, network marketing, first thing that comes to mind for me is, these people probably have like big communities or large friend family groups, and that wasn't me. I don't have large friend and family groups. I'm not part of any extra community. So I was really thinking about how this could really work for me. To add on to that, our team leaders are actually based abroad, so they're not here in New Zealand where Jess and I were. So that Jess is actually my upline. But I decided from day one that I wasn't going to let that be my excuse. Like I went on and did my research, probably a lot like Ash, and sort of just Googled and read about. And I just thought to myself, okay, if they can do it, then I'm not going to let that stop me. So yeah, that's what.
You just went ahead anyway. So
yeah, definitely.
Ash, how about you? When you were doing your research for a couple of years there, what were any concerns that you had, or what were you wanting to check out?
I think my whole situation, for the fact that I didn't use social media. So I was watching her, but I was the stalker. I was the one that was scrolling the Facebook feed and all of that. I was never actually looking to post or be proactive in posting and things like that. So that is due to my self-confidence. So I didn't have any self-confidence. I was very scared. I was skeptical. All of those sorts of things went through my mind that, could this be something that I could do? And obviously I did look further into it. Like, it was one of my best mates, so I trusted a lot of what she said. I actually did have somebody come over and chat with me, which made it huge, absolutely amazing, because I just got a new outlook to everything. And it kind of just went from there. I looked a little bit further in it, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to give this a go. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But what if it does? And I guess that's a huge thing, is what if this does work? And that's what I've found.
So just to recap, you had a big why. You wanted to get ahead. You had some concerns. So just briefly, how did you overcome those concerns? I know folks are listening in will be keen to know what you did. Is there a magic bullet, or is it just grit your teeth?
I wish there's a magic bullet. I literally I guess once I decided, I committed and I was all in. I overcome a lot of things. So I guess the thing is that you start off on your own, but you're not actually on your own. So once I knew that there was a whole team behind me, that there was support, there was resources, everything like that, it just made it all so much easier to be able to overcome all my fears. So it was literally fears. Fears were holding me back. And so that was something that I had to grow out of. And growing my mindset was literally the way that I had done it. And that was thanks to the team support that I've had and all those sorts of things.
Okay, great. So Annette, I remember from our chats previously, you mentioned you were pretty quiet on social media, you hardly knew anybody. So it was like a cold market, so to speak. How did you go about overcoming those hurdles?
I think that there's no better way to learn but just giving it a go. So what I did was I really learned on my uplines. I really observed what they were doing, and then I did that myself. I took my take on whatever they were doing. I just was really coachable from day one. So I really asked for help, and much like Ash, I thought that the business, you were going to be on your own. But it wasn't until I began peeling back the layers and extracting information and asking the questions that I actually realized how much support there were. And I believe that's what's so special about our organization. Everyone is so keen to help and is so keen to share knowledge. That was a massive, massive help for me when I first got started. Yeah, and even to today.
Right. So it's your own business, but you're not on your own. Did it take you a while to sort of both of you to grow your confidence that in fact it's a team activity and you've got a lot of help compared to perhaps normal business where it's all competitive, dog eat dog? It's quite the reverse. Did it take a bit of getting used to it all?
Yes, it did to begin with, I guess. Like because I was in management, so obviously I was the boss and I kind of, controlled a lot of things. So it was more being coachable. Like I had to learn to be coachable. And that was a huge change when it comes to a team, is to be coachable. And then for you to actually lead the team. So, I was only new, but I decided that I was committed and I wanted this, and that I was going to start being the leader that I wanted to be before I was the leader. And so I think that was a big difference.
Right. So it took a little while to make that change, I guess. Was ego getting in the way, perhaps, or whatever we call it?
Yeah, I guess a lot of it, because I was very skeptical to begin with. So I was kind of half in, half out. But once I decided, that it kind of took off from there.
Right. Okay. Annette, how about you? Was ego in the way, or was it more about determination?
I think a bit of both. For me, like fear was a massive part, and so I was really honest with myself, and I knew that about myself. And I guess I just kind of shared that with my upline as well. Whenever I felt uncertain or fearful of doing something, I just thought to myself, okay, I'm just going to mention it to her. And she was like, you know what? I used to feel like that. And that was a huge relief, because I feel like we've all been there, like talking on social media or sharing or even posting, or even the smallest thing like telling your mum what you're doing or telling your partner. Those are huge steps. And I think that it just comes with practice as well, and yeah, I mean, it's so amazing how we're able to really build a business for ourselves on social media, online, and it's literally our business. So I guess it's something to be really proud of as well. I remember talking to some friends about it, and they were just saying, how awesome it sounded. And I was like, yeah, like if you're excited about it, of course they're going to be as well. If you're shying away from it and not really speaking about it, then, you just have to think about how that comes across as to them as well. Yeah.
Sure. So with that experience for both of you, that it took you a while to make the adjustment, that you weren't on your own. Now you're bringing new team members in as your business is growing. How do you help them sort of go through that same process, only quicker? How do you help them adjust?
It would be very much like Annette, letting them know that they're not alone. Like we all start at the start. And I guess that's the huge thing here, is that people think that they're going to come in and they compare, my page 20 to their number 1. And it's like, no, hold up. Like we all start at the start. And I guess it's sharing that background is a really big gap that people don't do. And I find that that's something that is really relatable with new people, and it makes them kind of understand, because a lot of people come in and they're very determined and things like that, but they put a lot of pressure on themselves. So I think taking a little bit of a step back really helps to get them going, if that makes sense, like to kind of take the boundaries away and things like that, to know that you're an actual person. And obviously leading from the front, like what you do, they do. So it's leading from the front and everything like that.
Being real, in other words. So
yeah, being authentic and being real, 100%. Like, yeah.
Annette, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think giving yourself time and making sure that they know also that it takes time to build a business. Imagine if you were to go out there and open your own store, like it's going to take time. This business is no different from your traditional business, and feeding back that kindness to yourself. So thinking about that you're going to need to learn some new skills and go through trainings in their own time and ask questions and being really compassionate, and also just wanting what they want in the business as well. So if they say, oh, like I really want to go on the next trip, then that's so exciting, and help them work back from that to set goals and daily habits and that kind of stuff. I think that's really important.
So it's their agenda, their goals, and your role is to help them get what they want. Is that kind of how it works?
Most definitely. I believe everyone's business is their own, and it's our job as mentors to see what they want. And of course it's going to change, and that's up to the mentor to see how you're going to get there and really guide them through. And of course, you're learning at the same time as well, which is the awesome thing. Like, this is never ending journey of learning new stuff, which is awesome.
Right. So as we sort of conclude, so let's say that based on both of your experiences, we've got folks in the audience today that are still checking this thing out. I think Ash, you said you were watching for 2 years. What advice would you give to folks that are checking this thing out to maybe speed up the process for them? Maybe Ash, would you like to go first?
Yeah, of course. So to be open and coachable, like ask for help, be there, plug in. Like there's so many resources. So make sure that you are coachable and open to everything new. Like even if it's uncomfortable, do it uncomfortable, because it will make sense in the long run. Like, we might sound crazy to begin with, but we have a method behind it. And so just trust what your upline's saying and just jump in, guys. Like, you've absolutely got nothing to lose and so much to gain. Like, it's just incredible what this opportunity can give you. If you really want it, it can absolutely just mind blown the changes that it can make.
Wonderful. Annette, any thoughts?
I think just take small steps. So at the beginning of my journey, I would set myself little tasks, little goals as per se. So 1 month I'd be like, okay, I'm going to try to do 1 Instagram live, or next month do 3 product posts or something like that, or talk to one other person face to face about a product. And I think those small steps really lead you into the bigger picture. And one day you look back and you're naturally doing all these things without having to feel so uncomfortable or uneasy about it. But then when you're really thinking about it in the long run, how much you've done and how far you've come, you might surprise yourself, So I think that the first thing is just to really jump in and then take those small steps to get to where you want to go.
Wonderful. So final question for each one of you. How do you see 2021? Who wants to go first?
I am very excited for 2021. We have the Boost that's just launched, so I'm so excited to get that in as many hands as we possibly can. Like, I am absolutely loving that device. Didn't think I would love it as much as the Lumi, but my gosh, it is amazing. I actually am going on my first Success trip, so that's very exciting. I'm excited to meet everybody, so that's huge for 2021. And just to see where this online world's taking us, like, we are in the best position possible, and just where this online world's going after last year, it's just so exciting. The limit is literally, there's no limit to this year. I'm really excited.
Wonderful. Annette?
That's awesome. Well, I'm super excited that I heard that the destination was the Cayman Islands, and I'm like, wow, it's amazing. So I'm so excited to get as many of my own team members there, and also really excited about the Nutricentials range launch. I absolutely love Nu Skin skincare products, and yeah, that's it really. I mean, everything seems really awesome on my end here in Auckland, and the team's energy is just insane at this time of the year, so it's a great feeling.
Well, congratulations again to both of you for what you've achieved so far, and thanks for sharing your experience with us today. And I guess we better talk to Max about getting a line of Nu Skin sunglasses, because the future's so bright, you're going to need them. So